Hello, my fellow Earth Angels. Welcome back for another lesson. Thank you for joining me. If this is your first time seeing this face, I am Taylor. Thank you. Now let's go ahead and jump right in to today's life lesson. What is today's lesson, Taylor? I'm so glad you asked. Today's lesson is that you need to know where you are going. You need to spend some time in solitude with the Lord, seeking direction so you could get clear on where you are going. That is literally the only way to make it through this life. When you don't know, honestly, I can speak very, I could definitely go on and on about this topic because I am 28 years old. And I don't feel like I really knew what I was doing until now, until I started making these videos, until I had direction for these videos. Because if you look at my earliest videos, my vlogs, I had no clue what I was doing. I was following the crowd. I was following what everyone around me was doing, and everyone around me was making makeup videos, singing videos, and vlogs. So when the Lord gave me the great desire to make YouTube videos, I thought I'm making vlogs. That's what everyone else is doing. Not what I was meant to be doing. I definitely feel more aligned with what I'm doing now with my YouTube videos, which is creating these daily lessons for y'all and my calisthenics videos and my self-love videos. That's where I feel like I'm aligned. That's where I feel like my lane is. And I didn't get there. I didn't have this epiphany that this is what I should be doing with my platform until this year. Well, by the time y'all are seeing this, it might be next year. But until the end of 2025, like the Lord was giving me these clues of what I can be doing. And I use that example to talk about knowing where you're going because I spent so much of my life not knowing where I was going. I spent so much of my life following what everyone around me was telling me I should be doing. When it was time to finish high school, everyone was talking about college. So I went to college. I studied, I graduated college early. And the degree I graduated with, I literally decided after graduating I would not be pursuing it. Because the degree I got was, my undergrad is in human biology. And my intent when I got that degree was to continue school and go to become a physical therapist. I literally finished my undergrad and said, yeah, I'm not going to physical therapy school. And I was deep in the process. Like I got all my observation hours. I got my letters of recommendation. I think I was probably like getting ready to fill out an application. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And then that set me into, okay, what am I going to do? I ended up going into the military, had a brief stint there where I remember my job in the military was a medic, a medic. And I remember in my training, I was doing a rotation in the ER. And I distinctly remember talking to, I don't know if he was a doctor or a nurse, but I recall telling him that I really wanted to figure out what I was passionate about in this life. And that's what I wanted to do. I said, I don't want to work a job where I'm going to be miserable just to get a check. And that man looked me in my face and laughed, and said, that's adulting. You have to do things you don't want to do. You just find a job that pays your bills. And that's what you do. That never sat right with me. Big old white man telling me that. That never sat right with me. I was just like, no. Kept trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So then I go back to school. Now I'm in a master's program. I finished my master's degree. I get my master's degree. It's in health administration. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this piece of paper? Because I just get it to get it. Because every job interview I went on, they was talking about I needed experience. And I was like, okay. They was talking, no. Every job, they said I needed a degree or an experience. So then that's when I went back to school. Then I finished my degree, and now it was all about, oh, you need experience. I was like, I can't please y'all people. You can't please the world. And why was I surprised? This world crucified Jesus. They crucified a perfect man. If they did that to a perfect man, I don't know what hope I have for this little black girl. So as far as pleasing the world goes. So I tried to figure out what I'm going to do with my degree. I decided on project management. Shocker, every type of project management job wants you to have experience, or they want you to have a PMP. I didn't have that. but I did manage to get into like a job where the title wasn't project management, but the aspects of the job itself are project management. So I'm like, this is my experience. I'm getting my experience. But it's like, as soon as I made it to where I thought I was supposed to go, I still didn't feel satisfied. I still didn't feel like this is it. If anything, getting what I thought I wanted, getting to where I thought I wanted to go, highlighted in my mind that I was so far from where I needed to be, because it didn't bring me joy. It didn't bring me happiness. It didn't bring me fulfillment. It brought me a bunch of emotions that are the opposite of those things. So then it leaves you to think, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do for a living? What am I going to do for the next 50 years? Because I literally said to myself, I can promise you I won't be doing this. I looked at my retirement age and I said, I know they don't think I'm clocking in to a job like this for the next 50 years. They have got to be kidding me. So that, I didn't realize that was a beginning of a shift for me. But I can see now that it was definitely the beginning of a shift for me, because once you see your options laid out in front of you and none of them satisfy you, you're like, well, I got to figure something else out. I've got to figure something else out. And that's precisely what I did. I said, I got to figure something else out. And it's honestly through my time with the Lord that he planted all these new seeds on me. And it didn't happen overnight. It actually took months. No, it took a very long time for me to start hearing the plants that the Lord put on me. Like, and he drops off little seeds that are just so wild that you would think, I don't know how I'm going to get there. That can't be it. I must have heard him wrong. But it's like, as you trust him and you start trying to take steps of trying to make it happen, he starts revealing different pieces of the puzzle. And then, long story short, now I'm on YouTube. Doing these daily lessons, sharing my calisthenics, sharing my self-love tips. And these are things that bring me joy. I opened an Etsy shop so I can sell products that I would like to see. I said, me? Lord, you think I can do this? You can do anything you put your mind to. You just gotta keep showing up. And I would rather show up for something that I genuinely want to do and practice getting good at it and watch how it grows and expands and just keep trying and just keep putting myself out there. I'd rather do that for something that feels soul aligned than something that drains my soul but comes with a big paycheck. Yeah. Because I feel like I see it from both sides now. And I feel like a large part of you being able to even get to the place of knowing where you're going is to know where you don't want to be no more. Because you start asking questions like, well, how am I going to feel fulfilled? What am I supposed to be doing? Why did I reach this milestone and I still feel empty? Like, when you start asking yourself those questions, you have to start changing your behavior to follow, right? And I think this would be a nice point to pause and talk about what Bible scripture supports what I'm saying. The placement of this is a little odd, but we're going to get into it after. Have grace. Join me, friends, in John chapter 13. Verse 3. Jesus knew that the Father had given everything into his hands, that he had come from God, and that he was going back to God. So he got up from supper, laid aside his outer clothing, took a towel and tied it around himself. Next, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet and to dry them with the towel tied around him. Let's get into this, because you don't even know what I just read. You don't even know the gravity of what I just read. Let's break it down. Verse 3. Jesus knew that the Father had given everything into his hand. Jesus was already aware that the Lord gave him everything he needed to fulfill his mission on this earth. Jesus is tapped in with the Lord. Jesus knows the Lord so well. Jesus knows his assignment so well. Jesus only knew his assignment because he was tapped into the living source so well. Well, I guess he was the living source, but he was tapped into God. He knew his mission because he was connected to God, and he got his steps from God, and he knew what he was put here to do. So when you know what your mission is, it's very easy to have tunnel vision, because with all the distraction that is the world, all you see is what you're here to do. All you see is what you are placed here to do. And from there, that's where you make all of your moves, right? So let's move on a little bit. So like I said, Jesus knew that the Father had given him everything into his hands, that he had come from God. Jesus was aware of where he came from. Keep that in mind. Jesus was aware of where he came from and that he was going back to God. He was aware of where he came from. He was aware of his mission, and he was aware of where he is going, right? Jesus got all of these answers by being connected to God. Jesus knew the word. Jesus knew his directions. Jesus knew his mission. Jesus knew what he was placed here to do. He knew where he came from. He knew where he was going. So it didn't really matter about all the chaos that was going on in the world around him. He didn't allow those things to distract him, because he knew no matter what was going on, he knew what he was here to do. He knew what his mission was. Could you imagine if Jesus got distracted on his mission? We would all be paying the price. We might not even be here. Like, do you really understand the gravity of that? Do you not understand how you not figuring out what your purpose here on this earth is, how that affects everyone? Like, there is somebody that's not even born yet that you were meant to help through your purpose. There's something you're meant to create that's going to help their family. There's something you're meant to do that's going to help that friend group. Like, there is something specifically, there is a mission specifically on this earth for you. And if you don't do your part, you're the missing chain in someone else's story. Like, when you think about it like that, does that inspire you to want to show up for other people, knowing that as you show up for other people, they will in turn show up for you? Does it inspire you to think of us all as a chain, a link, that we are all connected and we're all fueling each other's lives in some facet? Like, taking myself as an example, like I said, I feel like now I'm starting to live in my purpose. I feel very good about making these videos, spreading what I know and trying to help someone else. But you know how I got here? Sorry, I feel like I have Riley's hair in my mouth. You know how I got here? I've been so tapped in with the Lord, just trying to grow my connection with him. Like, I can't get closer to the Lord. Think of like when you're in a relationship. Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and like you like them so much, you'd be like, dang, close is not close enough. I'm trying to get in your skin. Like, I'm trying to get so close to the Lord, I don't know what to do. And it's through seeking the Lord, he starts depositing these ideas in my head, things that I'm capable of doing that I didn't know I was capable of doing it. But if he could drop that idea in my head, out of all the ideas he could have possibly given me, the Lord could have dropped the idea for me to try to run to become president in my head. He never gave me that thought. That's not my ministry. But what the Lord did tell me I can do and succeed in is making these videos, starting my Etsy shop. And I have some other things that are like down the line I want to go and do. Like, I have so many ideas that I want to do, but one step at a time. You overwhelm yourself trying to do everything at once. And I almost did overwhelm myself. I just started making these YouTube videos, and I'm already thinking of how I want to serve the community that finds me and actually shows up for my videos, all the things I want to get in place for them to be able to offer to them. And I made these videos in advance so that they can consistently drop every single day. No shame in my game. I make them in advance. So it's like, at the time I'm making this video, I don't have no fan base yet. Because I just started putting videos out. Like, I have no clue if by the time this one drops, I have no clue what my audience is even going to be like. But I'm showing up so that when my audience starts finding me, they have a repertoire of things to watch. Because I keep showing up, despite being unclear about where we're really going. And I have visions and dreams for things I want to eventually offer, but I have to start here. Baby steps, you know? Man, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I say all that to say, like, imagine you are such a critical component of someone else's story. Like, for me to even get here, the Lord planted this idea in my head that I was even capable of doing this. I have my own YouTubers I watch that inspire me and make me feel like I absolutely can do this. And if any of those YouTubers that I've watched and have been inspired by, if they never made their videos, that would be a missing link in my chain. You know, like, granted, maybe something else would have came in its play, but no, I think the Lord is very intentional. And this scripture actually tells us how intentional the Lord is. Very intentional. So everything that has made an imprint on my life was meant to be there. It was meant to fuel me in some way. And if they didn't do their parts, I wouldn't be able to do my part, or my part would be even more delayed than it already is. And then I'm not showing up for you, consuming this video. And now you don't have whatever inspiration I bring to you. I'm delaying your you see how that has like the ripple effect? We have to show up for other people and they're going to show up for us. We have to show up to make this world a better place. And we make the world a better place by living in our purpose. How do we live in our purpose? We have to discover our purpose. How do we discover our purpose? We have to be connected to the source, the one that gives us life, the one that orders our steps. The Most High God. That is who we have to be connected to get our steps. And now, returning to the text. So now we know that Jesus knew his mission, he knew where he came from, and he knew where he was going. Very aware of why he's here. It goes on to say, so he got up from supper, laid aside his outer clothing, took a towel and tied it around himself. Next, he poured water into a basin and began washing his disciples' feet to dry them with the towel tied around him. The Lord was so secure in his mission that he was able to perform humble acts of service. Let me phrase that in a different way. Think of like the most famous, prominent influencer you know of today's age. If they were so worried about appearances, maybe they go out in public and maybe a homeless person asks them for some food. That would be like a homeless person asking them for food, and they're so worried about their image. They're so worried about being photographed with a homeless person. They think it's going to dampen their appearance or their brand and make them look like less than what they are. So they brush the homeless person aside and they just go into the restaurant, right? They are so focused on appearances that they can't humble themselves to help someone else. That's not good leadership. That's not good public service at all. When you are so committed to your mission, you are not easily distracted by statuses. You're not easily influenced by what other people think about what you have going on, because you are so locked in on your mission that you say, I'm going to do what I need to do no matter who says what, because I'm doing it for my Father. I know where I'm going. I know where I've come from and I know where I'm going. Your opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion, it's irrelevant. Your opinion didn't ask for it, don't need it, don't care for it. What you have to say about what I have going on does not make or break my mission. I know my mission. You have to get so clear on your mission that it's easy for you to drown out outside noise that will try to sway you in a different position, you know? So, yeah, this lesson was about knowing where you're going. When you know where you're going, you know where you came from, you know where you're going on, you move through life very, I don't want to say easy, but easier. You move through life easier. Because mind you, if you're not aware of like the story, in John chapter 13, this is like right before Jesus is about to get crucified. Jesus is about to get slaughtered on the cross for a bunch of people that didn't deserve it, for us. So could you think about that? Could you think about you're just trying to live in your purpose and you know you're about to die? Think about how you would react. Would you be washing someone's feet? Would you be able to humble yourself enough to wash your servant's feet when you know you're about to die? This is the example we have. You have to be so clear on your mission that you're not easily distracted by the chaos of the world, because the chaos of the world is always going to be there. Always has, always will be. It's always there. You have to be so focused on your mission, know your purpose, what you were called here to do, that despite the chaos that is never ending in this world, you just focus on your mission. You focus on making whatever it is you're supposed to make better. You focus on serve the people that you are meant to serve. You focus on serving the people that only you could serve, because you have a very unique and specific skill set that only you can do. You are the combination of so many unique experiences that you have this very unique perspective that can help a very specific type of consumer. And they need you. They need you to show up. So I say all that to say, tap in with the Lord, figure out what your purpose is, and submerge yourself in that purpose. Show up for people. Aim to help people. It will repay you in the long run. But outside of that, don't do it for the reward. Do it for how you're going to feel when you're living in your purpose. You feel fulfilled. You feel joy. You feel inspired. You feel like this is something I could keep getting better at. Because, pro tip, your purpose is not something you're bad at, okay? If you are bad at something, no matter how much you try, if it never comes easy to you, chances are you crawling up the wrong tree or something like that. Whatever your purpose is, it's something that comes naturally to you. That doesn't mean you don't have to still take the time to invest and develop your skills within that purpose, but it's gonna come a lot easier to you than it comes to other people. Me talking to this camera for 20 minutes straight, not everyone can do that. They don't have 20 minutes worth of things to say. Speaking is within my purpose. I feel like my anointing is on my voice. I've always had a strong voice. It's just what I used to do in my one-to-one relationships, I'm now doing on the internet. I'm now spreading all this love on the internet because I said this good love is too good to just be given to the people I know that be ignoring me. Let me tell the internet, whoever tunes into this video wants to know what I'm saying. And I'm grateful. If you made it to this point in the video, I am so grateful. Thank you for staying. Thank you for giving me your 20 minutes. Thank you for watching previous videos, and thank you for watching future videos. I definitely think if you could just figure out what your purpose is, know where you're going, know where you've come from, be so aware of your stance and your position that you're not allowing outside external influences to sway you, shake you, dismay you, none of that. All right? Be so clear that no one can tell you anything about what you got going on, because you get your truth from the Lord, not the world. And with that, I hope you enjoyed. Are y'all shopping on my Etsy shop? I think we spoke about that a little bit. Did y'all shopping on my Etsy shop? If you need a calendar, I got a calendar on there. I also got these really cute cups. I'm just presenting offers. You are not obligated to do anything, but I hope you check it out. If you see something you like, I hope you get it. Well, thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.